and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act pursuant to Public Laws 1975, Chapter 231. This agenda is complete to the extent known. It was sent to the Trenton Times and Trentonian newspapers, posted on the first floor bulletin board in City Hall, filed in the City Clerk's office, and posted on the City of Trenton website. Formal action will be taken. Roll call. Vice President Edwards.
Present.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Present.
Council President Gonzalez.
Presente. You forgot.
Councilman Harrison was en route, as I understand it.
Yes.
And Councilwoman Williams.
Present y presente.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Feliciano.
Present.
Thank you. I believe I'm dealing with an outdated roll call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Gotta be.
way out of order.
So yeah, we were all out of order, and it doesn't look like I have more of these. This is correct. Thank you. And Madam President, as I understand it, excuse me, if you'd like, I'll now read the invocation.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Almighty God, who holds the fate of man and nation, we most humbly beseech thee to bless this, our city, these deliberations, and these thy servants, that they may act with wisdom and understanding for the good of our community and thy greater glory. Amen.
Man.
And Madam President, as I understand, we have a presentation this evening, if you want to introduce that presentation.
Yes, so do you want to do it? So we're going to have a Trenton Water Works, it was a water rate study that was conducted, and I believe we're going to receive all of the results from the study that was conducted. We have 10 minutes for the presentation also.
Thank you. My name is Piper Brandt. I'm the CEO of Raftellus. We do this work around the country, working for utilities and setting rates. I'm based in Charlotte, North Carolina. And would you mind if I take off my jacket? Is that okay? I feel a little formal here, and just want to walk you through. Thank you very much. So just a really quick overview of the study. Really the purpose was to evaluate the existing status of the water fund. We want to ensure the long-term sustainability of Trenton Water Works, and then analyze the impacts of revenues and customer impacts. And then just so you know, for a little bit of background, kind of current trends, water rates around the country are rising faster than inflation, faster than the consumer price index. We were trying to catch up. That's a trend around the country. And Trenton Water Works has not raised its rates since 2020. Most utilities raise rates every year, or certainly with more frequency than that. And Trenton Water Works, like utilities all over the country, are facing inflationary impacts, aging infrastructure, declining consumption, and various other factors that are making water service more and more expensive. So first step was to develop a financial plan. We have to look at the revenues that you're generating currently. We look at what the expenses are, O&M expenses and capital expenses, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then we look at your financial policies, and basically that's how much cash you have and how much cash you feel necessary to maintain. We were given a lot of information by Trenton Water Works. They provided billing data, revenue data, a whole host of information that we requested. Here are the revenue requirements. Sorry for it being a little bit small on the screen. If you have the presentation, hopefully you can read it. The important point to note here is the revenue requirements are going from about 60 million to 82 million between 2025 and 2030. And the main driver for that, if you look at the last line before the total, is debt service. It's going from 13.5 million to about 27.6 million over that period. That's the biggest driver. Other increases are basically inflationary increases. Also, there were some need for some additional expenses for staffing to make sure that the Director Simple and his team has the ability to continue to provide sustainable service. So let's take a quick look at that capital. This is the CIP. CIP stands for the Capital Improvement Plan. Over the next 5 years, from FY 2026 through FY 2030, the Capital Improvement Plan includes $230 million in projects. These are required projects. These aren't, hey, we want to do these because we think it would be nice to do. Most of these are regulatory driven, either due to federal or state regulations, and not really much you can do about that. So a fairly significant capital improvement program. And that's why you see the debt service going up that I showed on the previous slide. So here's the story when you match that with revenues. Revenues are the black line. The bars are your total revenue requirements. As you can see, your revenues are not sufficient to meet your revenue requirements. And this is with no rate increases. So you can't continue to operate with no rate increases and have the capital plan that needs to be done. So we considered a few solutions. One are equal rate increases for the next 3 years, FY 26 through 28, and then some smaller rate increases in the following 2 years. Second option is to have a higher rate increase in FY 26 to get you totally up to your revenue requirements. You have some fund balance, so you don't have to get up there in year one, but then you'd have equal increases in 27, 28, and then another set of increases, smaller increases in 29 and 30. And another option that we talked about, but just no way to do it, is to reduce the capital plan. As I said, those capital projects are required by regulation, so we can't really reduce the capital plan. Considering those, option one was selected. It mitigates the customer impacts to the greatest extent possible while fully funding the regulatory driven capital. So with that, what does that look like? 3 14% rate increases, 26, 27, and 28, and then 2 4% rate increases. These would be across the board rate increases, both on your fixed charge, that kind of quarterly fixed charge, and on the volumetric rate. And I'll show you what those numbers look like in just a couple minutes. So that's the proposed rate increases. Here's what that does. This is that chart. Again, now you see that black line. It starts still below the top of the revenue requirements in 26 and 27. Like I said, you have some reserve funds that you can use to kind of cover it. And then you're actually recovering a little bit more in 28, which will help you to fill back up your reserve fund coffers. And then in 28 or 29 and 30, you kind of right at the revenue requirements. So that's under those 3 14% and 2 4% rating. On balance, like I said, you actually have some. You actually have more than above that. That dotted red line is 90 days of O&M. That's a target. That's kind of on the lower end, probably the lowest you could shoot for. I work with a lot of utilities that are more on the 180 to 250 days, but we thought this was an appropriate target given your situation, because obviously if we set that target higher, it would require larger rate increases. You can see we dropped down a little bit below in 2027. That's okay, because then we build it back up. And so this is what those numbers look like. This shows you the rates. Currently, you're $2.11 per CCF, which is stands for 100 cubic feet, but that's 748 gallons of water. And you see the meter charge, which is a quarterly charge. Your rates are actually relatively low, as you'll see in just a second. incredibly high. But those are the rates. Now, this is what the customer impacts would be. This is for FY 2026 at 3 different volumes of usage. Have a low volume of 12 CCF per quarter, 20 CCF per quarter, and 36 CCF per quarter. And you can see how much those bills would increase annually. So we send out quarterly bills, but that's the sum of 4 quarterly bills for an annual bill. And this gives you an idea of what that impact is again. And this is over the 5-year period. So this includes the 3 14% increases, the 2 4% increases. So the increase, and this is for a median customer, 20 CCF per quarter. And you can see the annual increase for 2026 would be $68, which is about $5.67 a month, or 19 cents per day. The 2027 increase would be a total of an annual increase of $77, $6.46 per month for your kind of typical customer, 21 cents per day increase. And you can see the rest of the increases there. So again, 14% increases, sounds fairly significant, but the actual impact on customers, especially the daily impact, is not particularly high because you're starting at a relatively low base. And let me show you this next chart, which shows exactly that. This is a bill comparison of New Jersey utilities. Your currently, if you can see this one, is the slightly differently colored bar there. So you are in the kind of the lower third in bills. With the increase for the 2026, you'd move to right here, which is about kind of in the middle, kind of at the median of those increases, and certainly much lower than the increase over to the right side. So you currently have relatively low rates. This will still put you at kind of in the mix, kind of in the middle of other bills in New Jersey. This gives you an idea of some local comparisons with 2 investor-owned utilities that are serving kind of contiguous areas. You have Aqua, New Jersey, and then New Jersey American. And this shows what your bill for, again, this typical 20 CCF customer would go to over that period. So we're starting over on the left side with the kind of blue-greenish bar. You'd go over in 2026, so it'd go up to 554. You'd still be well lower than Aqua, New Jersey. And this is without any Aqua, New Jersey rate increases. We know they're going to have increases as well. In 2027, you'd still be below Aqua, New Jersey, and you'd be well below New Jersey American. 2028, you jump up above Aqua, New Jersey. Again, that's Aqua, New Jersey currently, not with any rate increases. Expect them to have rate increases 2029, 2030. And even with this 3 14% increases, 2 4% increases, you'd still have a lower bill. Customer would still have a lower bill than a New Jersey American customer currently has. Just want to provide that context. So we're just a registered municipal advisor, a little legalese that I have to show. That's all I have. I wanted to go through that quickly. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. And I can go back through the presentation at any level you'd like.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I know some of our council members do have questions. I'm going to allow Councilwoman Frisbee.
Thank you, Madam President. So thank you for the presentation. I actually have 3. One question is, what is the CCF? What does that stand for? That's the first.
Yes, that is a great question. Why the water industry ever came up with that as a term? It stands for 100 cubic feet, and 100 cubic feet is the equivalent of 748 gallons. There are 2 ways that water meters measure. They either measure in 1,000 gallons or they measure in 100 cubic feet. There are probably more utilities around the country that use this CCF for 100 cubic feet. Quite frankly, it's very confusing to customers, but that gives you an idea. And we're talking 20 CCF would be about 15,000 gallons for the quarter, which just give you an idea, maybe a little bit better is that's about 5,000 gallons a quarter is what we say kind of for this, a typical median customer is. So I know that's confusing, but hopefully that gives you some perspective.
Thank you for that. And then on the slide where you have water fund balance, where it says projected water reserve fund balance with proposed rate increases,
Yes, ma'am.
you talked about from 26 to 27 that it actually goes down and then it goes up
Yes,
quite a
ma'am.
deal on 28. Why does it decrease such?
Because if you go to the slide before that, you'll notice that we're not fully meeting the revenue requirements. I think I mentioned that there was another option where we have a larger increase to get up to the full revenue requirements. What we're doing is we're trying to, again, to benefit or to mitigate customer impacts, have 3 smaller 14% rate increases as opposed to 1 larger increase. So to be able to do that, we're not fully meeting our revenue requirements. So we're having to use some of our fund balance to cover the cost. And that's okay, as long as you have a plan to refill those coffers, which you do, and that's why it bumps back up afterwards. But we're having to use a little bit of your reserve funds to fully fund the revenue requirements in FY 26 and FY 27, and that's why you see the fund balance dropping a little bit.
Okay, so we increased by 14% and it still goes down, and because it's going down, we're losing on that at that point, it is what you're telling me, and then we have to go into our reserve because of that?
That's correct, because if you go to the slide before that and you look at the FY 2026, that black line is still below the top of the yellow box. So we're not fully recovering. And if you go back, a few slides before to what your current situation is, I think it's slide 6, you're well below that. The increase gets you're in the pink section there. The 14% increase gets you well into the yellow section, so almost to the top, but it doesn't get you all the way there. To get you all the way to the top, you would have required a 21% rate increase in FY 2026. So instead of having, I talked about that other option we looked at, option 2, instead of having a 21%, then an 8%, then an 8%, what we're recommending is 14% increases, again, to try to mitigate customer impacts.
Right, I understand that. It's just that it looks like we're in 25 down, in 26, it looks like there's an increase. And is that where, or is that just showing us where we are currently?
That's showing where you are.
Okay,
currently.
all right, so that clears that up for me. Okay, and then my final question is, what percentage do others generally increase by?
It is across the board. I've done 5% increases. I've done 49% rate increases. It depends on how long you've gone without a rate increase. It depends on your capital improvement program. It depends on just several factors.
So there's no median?
There is no, I would say, because we do a big national survey, it's a little over 5% per year but that's if you have a rate increase every year, it's 5% per year. Since you last had your rate increase, the consumer price index has gone up almost 25%, and you haven't raised rates at all. So we're having to play catch up. And that's what we're trying to do, is over the next 3 years, get you to a point where those 3, 4, 5% more inflationary increases are the norm, and we don't have to have this big increase. But when you don't have rate increases for several years, you have to get caught up, especially when you have a capital improvement program of the magnitude because of the regulatory requirements that you're facing.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Madam President.
Yes. I was just going to ask one quick question. When we talk about the revenue here, is that all of the municipalities?
Yes, ma'am. That is all the municipalities. And right now, just so you know, same rates for all customers, and there's no rate differential or anything at this point in time. And this is, again, an across the board rate increase. So the volumetric rates going up 14%, the fixed meter charge, quarterly meter charge is going up would be going up 14% as well. And you also just have one single class of customers. You don't have, a lot of utilities have residential customers and non-residential customers. You just have one class of customers.
Thank you. And one other follow-up, just, I know she asked, what's the percentage of other other companies going up, but how often do they increase their rates?
Most utilities at this point increase rates annually.
Annually.
There are some that will take a year off every now and then for various reasons, but most do it annually
Thank you.
because they're trying to keep them at a moderate level.
Councilwoman Feliciano?
Thank you, Council President. So just a quick question, and thank you for the presentation. Appreciate it. When we look at page 11 and you're talking about the meter charge and then the volumetric rate, right? And so we're talking about ready to
ma'am.
serve, and then we're talking about actual usage.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we bring this a little more closer and give an actual example of, I have a 5/8 meter,
Yes, ma'am.
right? So my ready to serve is 7924.
Yes, ma'am.
Under the current rate, if I use however many cubic feet, tell me what it would be, right? And then show the difference with the percentage increase. So that way people that are listening can understand how that will hit them as an individual consumer rather than looking at the whole. Can you do that?
I'm not sure I fully understand the question. I mean, so under this scenario, that meter charge, the 14% increase would go from $79.24 to $90.33.
Right.
And so every customer is going to pay that, and that's for the 5/8 inch meter. And I will say larger meters pay more, so it scales up. Then if that customer uses, if they use 10 CCF over that quarter, they would pay that $90.33 plus 10 times $2.41, which would be $24.10. Use the chosen number that was easy for me to do my multiplication with.
Right.
So then you add those two together, and their bill would be $114.43 versus what it is now. And it's very common. Almost every utility has that meter charge and a volumetric charge. And a lot of utilities have tried to increase their meter charge because it provides revenue stability, especially, and I mentioned this earlier, there's declining water use because every washing machine you buy, every dishwasher, every toilet uses less water. Irrigation systems are more efficient. People just are using less water per capita. And the problem is the water utility is very capital intensive, and you can't shrink the size. You have to put a lot of pipes in the ground, have a big infrastructure. Those costs don't go away. The cost, that $230 million in capital improvement plan that's regulatory driven, that you have to recover that regardless of how much water is used.
No, I understand that. Thank you.
yeah,
So
hope for
I
that.
just wanted
Hope for that.
an actual example so
Okay,
that people can
okay,
understand. So if
okay.
they were looking, what is the actual
Yeah.
impact as it would hit the person? So when it comes to commercial businesses, right? If I have a commercial property, if there was a 5/8 meter
Yep.
in a business, is their ready to serve charge the same?
Exact same charge.
Why would we not charge more for a commercial business property because it's a business? Why would we charge them the same amount that we would charge a resident? And it's a business.
Currently, this is how you've always done it, to the best of my knowledge. There are plenty of utilities that do have, as I said, separate residential, non-residential,
I'm saying,
residential,
you're right, because if we're looking to bring
Yeah.
revenue
And-
in, then we should look
there-
when we study, right?
The challenge is there's not justification on the fixed charge really to charge more. They're not doing anything that has a kind of a cost causation. On the volumetric charge, there sometimes is a rationale to charge either more or less. This, to determine that would require a cost of service study. This wasn't that. This was a rate study with a revenue study. But that's something that the council could consider looking at in the future, but that would require some other things. It would also require the billing system to identify residential versus non-residential customers. And right now it doesn't have that. We don't have separate in the billing system. Yeah.
Okay. I used to work for Trenton Water in the billing department. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yep.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Harrison?
My question is, I see here it's first year, it's what, 30-cent increase, right? From 211 to
To 241, yes, sir.
Yeah. Going from there, what is so it's a recommended every year? Or is it every 3 years?
3 years of 14% increases. So 14% in 2026, 14% in 2027, 14% in 2028. That gets us basically to where we need to be. Then we go back to kind of inflationary increases of 4% and 4% in 29 and 30. So
Okay, so what about 2031? What would that be? Or would it be another?
it would probably be in that more inflationary,
4%?
3 to 5%, depending on. Now, it's obviously we get real hazy when we're looking that far in advance. But the thought is, by doing this, by having these large increase, relatively large increases, then over the next 3 years, that gets you back to where you kind of need to be. And then you're more in a maintenance level of kind of inflationary and handling kind of typical rate increases. If you had 4 to 5% rate increases since 2020, like I said, the last one was there, obviously we wouldn't need nearly this level of rate increases. So we're trying to catch you up, get you to a point where you have revenue stability and then and sufficiency, and then be able to go from there, assume that you just kind of maintain that with inflationary increases.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Okay. Thank you.
Council President?
So, my apologies. Hold on. We may have one more.
That's fine.
My apologies, Councilman Williams.
Thank you, ma'am. I forgot to hit the button. My bad. I just had actually two quick questions. One is, I saw in the revenue projections and revenue requirements, you had mentioned 2026, our debt service will bump up 4.7 million. And then looked later on a few years, I think going into 28, it's going to go up another 4. And is that because we are retiring some bonds, or are there particular reasons? Because those two increases are more substantial than in the other years.
It may be. Yeah, that's a fair question. I have to look. It's a little bit depending on what your existing debt portfolio is, and then how we're layering in the debt associated with the capital improvement plan. As I said, most of, or basically all that $230 million is going to be funded through debt service, and you actually have the kind of two. You have the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank, and I think another, maybe a trust that you can do. One, there's interest, one, there's not interest. But we've kind of built that in. So I would have to look for that specific question to be able to see what the kind of portfolio is currently. But we assumed what I would say is pretty basic assumptions on the debt. We're not structuring the debt or wrapping the debt. We're basically doing kind of equal annual payments consistent with how you've issued debt in the past.
Okay, thank you. And to follow up that, would your analysis be able to provide us with information on how we may restructure that debt or be able to take on any additional debt obligations for the repairs that we have to make in the future, which have been advised could run from $600 million to $1 billion as a FAR number?
Yeah.
Because that's one of the issues we have is we haven't been able to borrow at a capacity sufficient to be able to make these payments or make these corrections and make these repairs. So then we're always kind of chasing the dog without a chance to actually, solve this problem.
Yeah. we have some capacity to serve as a financial advisor, though I presume, and we're, as I kind of quickly showed that municipal advisor slide, we're licensed to be able to do that and have some of the capability. We're not your financial advisor, and the city, I suspect, has one. What frequently happens is we will work with whoever the cities or the utilities financial advisor is to provide different options for what can happen with the debt issuance. So generally there's a financing team that kind of looks at that. And we could certainly be, and we often are, a part of that, because what we do is with the rate model we have, we can see what the impacts are to the customers and on the rates with any changes that we would make in what that debt profile would look like.
Okay, thank you very much. And then my final question would be, while you're looking at the revenue requirements and making the projections, and this is really helpful, were you able, and I know your position is with being a financial advisor, able to ascertain or observe any areas that could be reduced in cost to the city to reduce our revenue requirements, to possibly allow for us to not have to raise the rates by 14% per year?
We did not. We weren't tasked with doing kind of what I call an organizational assessment to do that. From what I've seen, we were given the reports that were done by the state, and what it appears to be the case is that we actually may need to increase our operating expenses to make sure that we can remain a sustainable utility. So I'm not sure if to find ways to reduce those may not be possible. But again, that was out of the purview of our work.
Understood. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Council President.
Madam President,
Council Vice President Edwards.
I'm sorry, I do have a question after all.
ma'am.
Thank you. We're required by law to replace our lines that have lead in them by a certain time frame. And we also have millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars in infrastructural repairs that we have to make. I think that includes the decommission of the reservoir and construction of the smaller water tanks all around Mercer County,
Yes,
right? Would you say, in your professional opinion, that these rate increases over time would be able to sustain that type of debt? Has that been calculated in here?
We are taking the data that we've been given, the $230 million capital improvement plan, and assuming that includes those items. And these increases will allow that to happen. There are a lot of questions about how costly, and you are not alone in facing the lead line replacement. Utilities all around the country are facing that same issue. How expensive that ultimately ends up being, some of the other regulatory requirements. I obviously can't look into a crystal ball and know. But assuming that the $230 million covers the cost, and you have folks that have been looking at that are more in tune with the engineering side of things and the cost than I am. This plan gets you to be able to handle that and puts you on a good financial path for long-term sustainability for the utility.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Frisbee has one more question.
So actually, it's really not a question. I actually have an observation. And as one of my colleagues was pointing out, currently we're at $486 that per CCC, local annual bill comparisons over 5 years. In comparison to Aqua, New Jersey, that is, we are lower than Aqua, New Jersey by $59, excuse me. And if we are comparing ourselves to New Jersey American Water, we are currently $317 less than they are. So just to put it in perspective for those who are listening online and for those that are here currently, the difference between what we charge and these other organizations, these other companies are charging is gravely, there's a huge price difference. So 159 with Aqua, New Jersey, and 317 difference with New Jersey American Water. I just want to bring that to light, just so folks can get an understanding, a bearings of where we are with this increase. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you so much.
Council President?
Oh, thank you, Councilwoman Feliciano.
Thank you. Real quick, I'm sorry. To Councilwoman Frisbee's point, even with that, thank you, Councilwoman. When we look at Aqua New Jersey and Aqua American Water, are they ready to serve prices the same,
Yeah.
or is the price per?
The volume metric piece.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the exact dynamics here. I'm happy to provide that. I can get that to Director Simple, and so you can have that information. He can pass it on to you, so you can have that. Yeah, because there is a little difference and it's at, again, this was at 20 CCF at different volumes. That difference might be
Right.
different. But yes, we can get that information. I just don't have it with me.
Thanks. I just was curious
Yeah,
then
great
just to
question.
see with the meter per the usage, because
Yes, ma'am.
we're gonna get the money from the meter sizes go
Yes, ma'am.
up. We're low on the usage. So why do we price like that?
I don't know. I wasn't involved in that. It's the kind of history. I think some of it is, as I said, that getting the meter charge provides revenue stability because you don't worry about how much water is being used. And the other thing is it is very expensive. I know people think, well, if I don't use any water, why should I have to pay anything? Well, to have the ability to use water, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's expensive. It's expensive to have that treatment plant that's ready. It's expensive to have the reservoir, and especially when you have to replace the reservoir. As you mentioned, it's expensive to have the pipelines in the ground to do that. So just to provide that opportunity is very expensive, and that kind of captures it. If we did, and one thing that we look at is for a utility, probably 80% of its fixed or 80% of its costs may be fixed. Only 20% are really variable based on usage. The challenge is that for a lot of utilities, maybe only 20% of their revenue is fixed and 80% is dependent on usage. So there's a little bit of a mismatch. You guys are actually in a better position than a lot of utilities in that you have a meter charge that's higher because it helps with your revenue stability. And if there is, if it's a wet summer and people don't use as much water or,
I got it.
So.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. So I'd like that information.
But we can get that information
about that,
for
just so
Aqua and
compare it, just
New
to
Jersey
see
American.
how they kind of do it.
Yeah, happy to get that for you.
Thank you. Thank you,
you so
Madam
much.
President.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Garcia, we can keep it rolling.
I'm sorry?
I said, we're good to go.
Thank you. Madam President, at this time, we have reached the point of public comment for agenda items only. We'll get the clipboard for public comment for agenda items only. And to the public comment for agenda items only, Madam President, we have nobody listed for public comment for agenda items only. So we can move on if you want to ask for a motion to approve communications, petitions, and reports.
May we have a motion to approve communications and reports?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. And Madam President, if you want to move on to ordinances for second reading and public hearing.
Yes, please. I'm sorry.
Certainly. Ordinance 25-022, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 35 Damon Street and identified on the city tax map as block 11003, lot 50, pursuant to NJSA 40A 12-13B5 to Enid Cunningham for the sale price of $2,500. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve 25? Councilwoman, should we approve it first? And then go to discussion? Second reading.
Yes,
Yes,
motion and
so we got to approve it first.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg.
Discussion?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, so I have some questions and concerns about all of the properties that are up for sale by the city. In reviewing all of these properties that have come before us, and there's a number of them, there's a disparity in the square footage, what we're selling them for. Some have assessments, some have old assessments or assessments that are found on GIS. Some have no assessments at all. Some are labeled as small, narrow strips of land, which is equivalent to another one that is of lesser square footage that is not labeled that way. We have some being sold for very large amounts of money. So just some examples. A 819 square foot lot is classified as side yard, is being sold for $2,500. Another parcel of land is 2,800 square feet, is being sold for $2,500. One for 1,400 square feet is being sold for $5,000. One for 1,400 feet is $1,500. 1,300 feet, $25,000 being sold. I'd like to know what the rhyme or reason or how it is that we are coming up with these numbers and these sales. We have one being assessed at $3,900 and it's being sold for $3,000. What is our process with this when it comes to the land where it is? Because if you look at the code, E-code 360, 2,500 square feet is a buildable lot. For row homes under RM1 and RM2, a buildable lot is 1,500 square feet. If we look at row homes under row homes 1 and 2, 2,500 square feet, or 1,500 and 1,200 square feet. It just really, really depends. So I'm trying to just gather why there's so many discrepancies and disparities with these numbers. The square footage, the cost, the assessment, no assessment. Why are recent assessments attached to all of this? And, my question to Director Bridges is I know that this was tabled at our last meeting because I think you said you were not comfortable with these ordinances of these properties for sale, but here they are back on the docket and it does not seem to be any changes. So can somebody please answer how this works? I mean, there's one property that assessed at $162,000 and we're selling it for $5,000. So can somebody speak to this and what is the rhyme or reason with these properties?
Yeah, if I may, Council President, and thank you for the question.
Yes,
Council.
Director Bridges.
Thank you for the question, Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg. My purpose last meeting for pulling these was I would want to more understand the process. The question was properly asked, I believe, by Councilwoman Feliciano with respect to the sale of properties to employees. So I want to confirm what I believe to be the case, which is the case, and let's talk about the process. Number one is about if you're selling it to anybody, including employees, which there's no rule against that, it has to be transparent. I've been able to confirm since the last meeting that there is a list on the city's website that lists all these city-owned properties that are available. That's the first step in transparency. The second step I wanted to ensure was that there was a review of those by a group of individuals, not only looking at the party's abilities to redevelop, but also their financial solvency. That has also been addressed and answered. So with respect to the process and the transparency and the equal access to the properties and making sure that the process for that was not compromised, I got those answers and I was satisfied with those answers. With respect to the sale price and how that's determined, that's more granular, and I would defer to the director of the department. And I believe that Mr. Beach is pinch hitting in lieu of Mr. Liston to discuss how those numbers came about and how the sales price, as well as maybe the question later on, the acquisition price, were determined by the city.
Thank you. I mean, in addition, Mr. Beach, just to be clear, and none of my concerns were what you mentioned, Director Bridges. So thank you. That was it's good to know what you were uncomfortable with. I mean, another listing, probably just another example, is a non-conforming, which means like no windows or no egress. And that's almost 1,400 square feet, and that's selling for 13,000. Again, I know Councilwoman Feliciano had brought this up, and I think that she had created a type of flow chart or something that things could be marked effectively. So we knew why I think we had asked for recent assessments to be included in property sales. That did not happen. Some of these forms that are attached to these ordinances are not filled out properly. So just kind of, if you can clarify with us, like what is the process? How are we want the properties to sell, but we want it to be fair across the board. So can you please explain that for us?
Chief of Staff, if you please, Council President. I'll do my best, Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said we want to get these properties moving. And, the city has a plethora of rundown properties, empty lots, and, people are clamoring to try to clean up their neighborhoods, and we want to get this process moving. Director Bridges mentioned that, there is a process that we are working on. I don't know if it's appropriate. I can share a draft of it and keep in mind it is a draft, but it's what we're working on, and it addresses the different aspects of how the city is going to look to sell these properties, including pricing and what goes into those considerations of what prices we're going to be charging, or not even charging, but what we're agreeing with the buyer to sell to them for. And, there's different considerations in terms of, the quality of the building. It's not just size, but, whether, the building's in a dilapidated state, whether it's in a bad neighborhood. All those go into the considerations of what we want to sell to somebody for, because if we're looking to revive a neighborhood, we're not going to charge top dollar to somebody for a property in a neighborhood that's down on its luck, and we're trying to get that back on its feet. So let me step away from the mic for a second, and I'll share the process. Apologies, Councilwoman Williams. I can email it to you after the meeting.
And I understand where you're coming from. You're saying neighborhoods or whatever, but wouldn't that be better served? Wouldn't we be better served to that point with actual assessments here and now? I mean, I know that there was dealings with properties in the past where the persons wanting to purchase the properties had to pay for their own assessment. They had to pay for their own survey. Right now it doesn't seem like there are assessments, and it just, and I get what you're saying, but it doesn't seem like a fair process. Some of those GIS assessments are upwards of 70, 80,000, and we're saying we're giving it to you for $2,500. That is blank. That is in the ordinances. I can name the ordinances if you'd like. So
But the GIS assessments, you're talking about the tax assessments?
What you guys are getting off the GIS server, yeah.
Right.
The geological, yeah. So some of them are saying it gives you a land and housing assessment from whenever. It doesn't say. So it's not, we don't know if it's today or if it's 20 years ago.
And that's why we're not relying on the GIS assessment to say that's what we should be selling
But
the
they're
property.
attached to the ordinance. So for us to review, it's attached to the ordinance for us to review, and we have nothing else more current than for us to review. So there's no assessment today that says, this is what this property is valued at. What is your offer? Is this fair and reputable, and can we give it to you? That's not what's happening.
Yeah, I didn't put those packages together, Councilwoman, so I'm not sure how to answer that.
Well, what I'm saying is, if these are going to come before us in this way,
No, point.
there needs to
I'm
be a
sorry
better
interrupt you.
process.
Point taken. That's why I'm sharing this draft process with you. And, any feedback that you can offer is certainly welcome. The administration wants this to be a fair and transparent process that, benefits certainly the residents of this city as we try to promote homeownership in the city. And, so maybe we will be selling for well below, what a GIS assessment is. That might have been done 10 years ago when a building was still standing. And if you go out to that building today, it's probably falling into the street. So.
Yeah, but it just seems like we're pulling numbers from the air as to what we could sell them for. I just think we could do better.
You'll see in this draft document, we do talk about pricing, and there's a presumptive price for an empty lot of $1,000. There's a presumptive price for a structure, a residential structure of $2,500. And then you have all the other factors that come into play.
Okay, thank you.
Council President.
Council President.
Director Bridges, did you want to respond to?
Yes,
Earl
one
Kemper
other
and
item.
Councilwoman Feliciano?
If that's permissible, thank you, Council President. One other item I want to clarify with respect to the process that I think will also address Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg's concern is we're going to include in that process when it is the case that there is no other interested party in that property, so that we will be able to identify on the date that this application was received and approved, there was no other interested party bidding on or expressing an interest in that property or properties. And that'll do two things: make sure that we're obviously designating when the decision was made, so there's no Monday morning quarterbacking, but also in reality, most of these properties are abandoned for a very long period of time. So, we're going to get what someone's willing to pay, and less until someone is going to come in before that and say they're paying more. The properties are worth what someone's willing to pay for them, essentially.
And I do want to point out to the council, the primary objective here is not to make money necessarily off of the sale of the properties. The primary objective is to get the properties back on the tax rolls.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
But with that, we would need an assessment, right? So
Once the property
It's
has
great
been
developed.
rehabilitated. But, you can go out to a property today that's dilapidated and, it's going to sit there vacant. So why not sell it for below market, get it back on the tax rolls, have it rehabilitated, and get it back on the tax rolls?
okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Feliciano?
Thank you, Council President. So I think in looking at this, right, it's dated June, and then it says as of April 2025, blah,
Saw
blah,
that,
blah.
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So the format is interesting. It looks familiar. When Director Liston was here, I had, as Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg said, asked and created a spreadsheet showing the different lot sizes, and because I was confused as far as what we were doing and why, right? So the lot size, this is the appraised value based on this GIS assessment here, the proposed price, and then the actual price. The variances cause concern. I said that we needed to have a checklist prepared of some sort that the council would be able to go by. So a checklist was then prepared, but also asked for a process to make it make sense. So even if we wanted to go with a certain range, right? So if it was this size lot, 25 by 100, I don't know, and the assessed value was this amount of money, we would accept between this and this. I mean, just something so we had a guide map that we could look at so it makes sense. For me, it doesn't make sense that if a side lot, and again, I want sales to happen. I am all for getting it on the tax rolls and all that kind of stuff like that. But if a side lot that is not buildable, that someone would just use as a driveway, would assess for $5,900, and we have them pay $2,500, why then would we give a buildable lot to people for the same price? It just doesn't make sense. And until this draft is final, I will be abstaining from every vote on all of these properties, because for me, it just does not make sense at this time. I need something concrete, something fair, something good for all people, something that when we look at it, it makes sense. And I'm not comfortable voting on any of this at this time. So Madam President, my votes will be abstain from every single ordinance when it deals with property for first and second readings until we get a policy document in place with good substantial documentation that makes sense to all the residents in the city. Also, I did not have, so to correct Director Bridges, I didn't have a question about employees buying properties. That was Councilwoman Frisbee. And then you went to clarify. And then we all said, we don't have a problem with any employees buying it. I mean, you make them live here to work here, so they should be able to benefit from buying a property. That's the standpoint, but I understood that she wanted clarity. So for the record, I just wanted to clear that up. So I'll be abstaining from all votes when it comes to these ordinances about these properties, because again, for me, it just does not make sense at this time. Thank you. Thank you,
Councilwoman Williams.
Chief of Staff Beach. Thank you.
Madam President.
Councilwoman Williams, and then I'll come to you. I'm sorry. I saw her first.
Thank you. I just want to say I'm really glad to hear about this, process, even, in comparison to what was been presented, earlier, because it is important. We need to make sure that everyone on council and administration and in the public feels that the process is going to be fair and equitable, but also does make sense. And I share my colleagues' concerns about this, and I'm really thankful that Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg and Councilwoman Feliciano highlighted so many key points, because people look at the numbers, they do ask, okay, well, why is this happening this way? Why is that happening that way? And also with what Mr. Beach said, some neighborhoods, just like any real estate market, some neighborhoods are going to be good to buy in or hot to buy in, easy to buy in and build or get your investment back, et cetera. But also at the same point, we do need to make sure that the city is getting a fair price for it, that the tax assessed for it is current. And at the end of the day, people can feel confident that when they buy a property here, particularly Trentonians, that they're being traded fairly and that it improves the situation for that neighborhood, the situation for the buyer, the entrepreneur, and also our city's bottom line. Yeah, we can't sell real estate to make money. We're not Toll Brothers. But at the same point, we do have to meet our costs and hopefully reduce the obligations on our taxpayers. So I'm really thankful that we're having such a robust discussion, because this is wonderful and it's been so needed.
Thank you. Council Vice President.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, Mr. Beach. And I just wanted to comment on all of this and from a different perspective. We have thousands of properties in this city that we're not collecting taxes from, that has been sitting there for many, many years. And many of these properties are falling down and are in very poor condition. They cost upwards of $85,000 to $150,000 to fix up for a single family property. We're not talking about commercial size properties. I'm willing to support whatever it is to get these properties back on the tax roll, especially for Trenton residents who have for so long been redlined out of the process. I have seen properties sold to people for $1, $10 for massive sizes of properties that are still sitting dormant and for various reasons. And I feel like we need to do whatever we can to return these properties back to the tax roll for our bottom line. To the points made, we're not a real estate agency, so we're not in the business of making massive amounts of money off of selling property. The objective is to get them back on the tax roll, get them back on our water and sewer usage and things like that, to end the dilapidation and blighted state of conditions in our neighborhoods. So I am in favor of these ordinances. I have asked many questions about the process. And from what I've understood is these prices came from offers that were made by the applicants, not from what the administration said they're willing to accept at a minimum for these properties. So I think in fairness, and when we're speaking about fairness, when we're asking, oh, how did these prices come about? $2,500 for a lot or for a house. That's the offers that were made by the applicants, and given the conditions of them, the administration was willing to accept. Now, there are some instances where negotiations would come into play, but typically in these cases, from my understanding from meeting with the former director Liston, that these were offers that were made. And so I think in fairness, let's accept them. Let's get these back on the tax rolls. Otherwise, they're going to fall in the hands of people that like to prey on our residents, who are going to buy them and rent them out and overprice them, or they're going to sit there and continue to fall apart. So I think that it is, I feel a sense of urgency to sell these properties and get them back on the tax roll. And that was one of my main focuses as a council member, is ending the blight in Trenton. And this is part of that. And so I think we should take that into consideration, that it's about the blight. It's about getting more tax revenue in our city, so we're not so dependent on the state. We're not begging for money. We're not, operating in a deficit. So I hope that, we get the answers that my council colleagues feel as though they need. But I'm trusting the process, that it is transparent, it is fair, it is legal, and I'm willing to vote in favor of them tonight. So thank you.
Thank you,
Council
Council Vice President. So I also wanted to chime in just on that before you, Council Feliciano. I also share the same sentiments as Council Vice President. I know that we've already been doing these since we've been this year, I should say, from this year. And looking at some of the homes, when you actually look at the ones that are being sold for some of the prices, they are very dilapidated. And so I agree with us putting it on a tax roll. This is all we keep hearing every single day from our residents, is that we have all of these vacant properties, and, Trenton looks like this and Trenton looks like that. And looking at the outline from what they've been working on over the last several months, trying to sell some of these properties. And I want to just also give a thank you to, I know we had a new attorney, Ms. Murray, who has been diligently trying to go through most of those backlogs that we've had for years. And I believe that, it is important for our residents to get first opportunity to purchase some of these properties. So I am also in favor of selling some of these properties that are listed below. Councilman Feliciano. Go ahead. Your turn.
Sorry. Thank you. So thank you, Council President. So to Council Vice President's point, I am not against any resident in the city of Trenton being able to buy property. I'm not against that, right? I know we've seen people who have bought apartment buildings. They don't pay for all the water for the units that they have in the apartment buildings. It's a lot of things that have taken place here that we are trying to correct. I love the fact when you talked about, dealing with blight. I also said that I'm all about revitalization, accountability, right? Collaboration and equity for all. And so my point is this: we've now been presented with a draft of what it would look like, and they're still developing what this would look like for the properties. I'm not coming off on the people in the city of Trenton. I'm saying the administration should have been doing better. That's what I'm saying, flat out. There should have been something already in the works. I know that we changed between HED directors. Director Liston was putting things together, and now he has gone on his way. But these things should have been in place. And I have a problem with the fact that there's no real concrete process. And now we're getting a draft process today when these things have been discussed meetings ago. And this should have been in play. All I'm saying is I want the process first. Even if you come in, it's not going to be the assessed value. It's going to be if you offer us whatever, we're going to go with whatever it is. I just want to see the process in writing so that when I do this, I can say, yes, everyone gets the same thing. So now I'm not asking if it's this size lot by this size, why are you selling it for this price? It's not that I'm trying to beat anybody up over the price. It's that I want a due process so that when I vote, I understand and everyone understands that everyone is being treated fairly. That's all I'm asking for. That's it. So that was my point with that. I'm still abstaining from all the votes when it comes to these properties. And I'd like to see the final policy that we can all work from, that we understand. If council wants to vote on this without having a concrete policy, council is fit to do as they see fit. I'll be abstaining until I see of something, unless everything goes through. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councilwoman Harrison first.
My question is, how many vacant properties or lots do we have in the city? What is the number?
It's about 2,000.
About 2,000. So that's about 2,000 properties every year. We got to cut the grass, the weeds, and then if squatters break in, we got to reboard it up, right?
Correct.
Or a fire could happen on and get burned into the
And it
ground.
has.
I understand. I can see we need to keep moving forward. We have, I mean, it's 2,000 now. What was it 2 years ago? What was the number? What was the number then? About 2 years ago.
Couldn't comment on that, Councilman. I don't know. I'd be
Could
guessing.
anybody comment on that? Does anybody know? Offhand, what then? 5,000? Right.
He says more.
How much? 4,800. Okay. All right.
So thank you. And then also really quickly to Council Feliciano's point, when we did discuss some of the things, if I'm not mistaken, before council, this was verbally discussed, maybe not formally in writing, but I do know that we discussed like the priority list and that the people who wanted to purchase a property, who wanted to live in it, like we've had several discussions in regards to the process. I understand we may not have had this in writing as it is in front of us, but we've had something similar as far as when we were discussing the priority list and what we should add onto the priority list and things of that nature.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Council
Yes.
President. To that point, you actually, as a body, passed a resolution back in
With the
February,
priority list.
setting those priorities.
Yes, I remember. Thank you, Mr. Beach. That's why I know we've had several discussions as the process, because these questions have been coming up, and we did discuss the whole priority list, and that was something that we voted on. But thank you so much. Thank you, Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg.
Thank you, Council President.
Oh.
So I just want to address some of the things that my colleague said. To Councilman Harrison's point, we have 2,000 vacant properties that are the city's responsible to mow and fix and take care of. How many properties do we have in the city that are owned by homeowners that do not care for their properties? And we have to call people to send the city out to assess it, to maybe give them a citation that they ignore, they don't fix their properties. This doesn't guarantee care of or management of properties. To Council Vice President Edwards' point about, they sold properties for $1 and then they just fell by the wayside. Well, we're essentially giving these properties away too without any proper assessment. So it's essentially the same thing. What I'm saying is I feel like there needs to be proper valuation of these properties. You cannot, it's to the point of these properties were just, they're given to people who say, this is what I want to give for this property. So we're going to say, okay, you can have the property for that price. But you walk into a grocery store and the bread is $5.49 and you walk up to the register and say, I have $2 to give you for this bread. You're not walking out with the bread. I'm just saying there needs to be valuations properly across the board. A 2,500 square foot property being sold for $2,500 versus a 800 square foot property being sold for $2,500 that you cannot build on. It doesn't make sense unless there's something written in proper order. There's some formalities that make it make sense. Let us know. Nobody else asked for this property. How did this person inquire about this property? Other things need to go into play instead of it just seems like numbers are being pulled out of a hat. You want this property, here's the number out of a hat, here's what you pay.
I think Councilwoman Feliciano pointed it out. These were numbers that we received from the buyers. So if a buyer is willing to pay $2,500 for an 800 square foot lot, are we going to negotiate against ourselves and say, no, it's only worth $1,000. We only want $1,000 for it to be quote unquote fair? if we are getting an offer that we believe is, and I'm not even going to say fair, but sufficient, and the most important thing I think we're doing now that didn't happen under the $1 program is we're assessing the financial viability of the buyers to make sure that when they buy this property, that they're going to be able to do with it what they are claiming they're going to do with it. So we don't have them sitting out there unused and undeveloped for another decade. I understand what some of the council is saying about the process. You know, it's a work in progress, but at the same time, you know, we need to get this process moving. And, you know, the priority of the administration is to get the houses moving, not necessarily that we're gonna, you know, turn the city's budget around by selling properties.
Thank you, Mr. Beach. I appreciate the information. And thank you, colleagues.
Thank you all.
May we move to the vote, Madam President?
Yes, we can move to the vote. My apologies.
Certainly. Roll call, Vice President Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Abstain.
Noted. Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg.
Abstain.
Noted. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-23, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as Lipton Avenue and identified on the city tax map as Block 34005, Lot 6, pursuant to NJSA 40A 1213B5 to David W. Bosted for the sale price of $2,500. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Vice President Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-31, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 141 to 147 West Ingham Avenue and identified on the city tax map as Block 6804, Lot 13, pursuant to NJSA 40A 1213C to Ulochi Global, I hope I said that right, Ulochi Global Investments, LLC, for the sale price of $30,000. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Vice President Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-33, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 46, 48, and 50 Tyrell Avenue and identified on the city tax map as Block 1803, lots 19, 18, and 17, pursuant to NJSA 40A 12-13C to Tyrell Street Redevelopment LLC for the sale price of $15,000. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time?
Oh, you got press the button.
Please state your name and address for the record, sir.
Walter Mason, 44 Pennsylvania Avenue, Trenton, New Jersey. These properties, I own 52 Tyrell. I've been trying to get these properties for like 4 years now. And I had to invest in 50 because it's tearing my property down. So I really need these properties. That's all I need to say.
Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Vice President Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-048, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 24 Hart Avenue and identified on the city tax map as block 21403, lot 16, pursuant to NJSA 40A1213C to Asiata Ibrahim for the sale price of $5,000. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Vice President Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-049, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 37 Tyrell Avenue and identified on the city tax map as block 1701, lot 50, pursuant to the NJSA 40A1213B5 to Ruth Rose Hawkins for the sale price of $1,500. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Vice President Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-51, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 457 West Hanover Street, 29 Marion Street, 315, 323, and 327 Rutherford Avenue, and identified on the city tax map as block 2303, lot 20, block 4601, lot 8, block 4601, lots 45, 41, and 39 pursuant to NJSA 40A1213C, SM Trenton Redevelopment LLC for the sale price of $100,000. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Madam President?
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes, on this is just one word in here where it says SM, second to the bottom line. It should have the word "to" in front of it to be uniform with all the other ordinances.
Yeah, 2 NJ.
To SM Trenton to be development.
Noted.
Thank you.
Are there any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll go to the vote. Vice President Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-052. Ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 21 North Olden Avenue and identified on the city tax map as block 26003, lot 16, pursuant to NJSA 40A1213C to Joyce Maria Lainez Reyes for the sale price of $25,000. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Vice President Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-53, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 10 Beek Street and identified on the city tax map as Block 8703, Lot 13, pursuant to NJSA 40A 12-12C to Hector Wea for the sale price of $4,000. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
Maybe have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second, Madam President,
Councilwoman Edward, Council Vice President.
thank you. I was wondering if the state statute that's cited here, 40A 12-12C, was because this is a city employee versus the other ones where it's 12-13C,
No, this is 12-C, she's right.
or is that a typo?
I believe that's a typo.
That might be a typo on, because I got C also on mine, so maybe our original one.
Oh, I do see it is a typo because on the actual ordinance
Yes.
versus our docket is
Docket is
different.
different.
Okay, never mind then. Thank you.
So it should
My
be 13,
apologies.
right?
Thank you. Would note that as well.
13, thank you.
Moving on to the vote. Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg, Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Mike is on.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-54, ordinance authorizing sale of city-owned property commonly known as 271 Tyler Street and identified on the city tax maps block 13805, Lot 5, pursuant to NJSA 40A12-13C to Luis Pesantes and Rene Reyes for the sale price of $13,000. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-55, ordinance authorizing sale of city-owned property commonly known as 61 Anderson Street and identified on the city tax map as block 14705, lot 44, pursuant to NJSA 40A 1213C to JYU for the sale price of $150,000. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-56, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 630 Edgewood Avenue and identified on the city tax map as block 2702, lot 16, pursuant to NJSA 40A 1213C to Ebony Day for the sale price of $3,000. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-57, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 36 Bryn Mawr Avenue and identified on the city tax map as block 6202, lot 44, pursuant to NJSA 40A 1213C to Lazaro Dubon for the sale price of $25,000. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to
May we
approve.
have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-63, ordinance requiring the distribution of utility notices to residential tenants by landlords or owners of residential premise within the city of Trenton. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? You can come right up, man. You can come right up. Please state your name and address for the record when you approach.
Shaquila Amaker, 211 Parkway Avenue, Trenton, New Jersey. This ordinance for the landlords to to give the tenants information on the water bill. There's several problems with that. Certain tenants are paying almost $2,400 to $2,700 of their rent to the landlord, and their taxes are less than $4,000 a year. I can give you several properties if you want to compare notes. In the lease, it states that tenants are responsible for the utilities. But these landlords are using these management companies all on South Broad to make their own rules. Some out of town, but mostly that. Tenants know whether they're responsible for the water bill, but to tenants that receive rental assistance, Section 8, they're required as landlords to pay one of those utilities, and it's usually the water. And recently, I had to reach out to a council member because you had a 71-year-old woman who's not entitled to pay the water bill that had to beg to get her water turned back on. The landlord was not reachable. The management company would not come down here and pay. In her lease, and in her contract, it stated she wasn't responsible for the water bill, which was over $3,000. This woman is good to the community. She takes care of animals. She'll help just about anybody. The outcome turned out that the management company came down and told her she has to pay $300 more on top of the rent that she can't afford for them to turn the water back on. These landlords are high in between these management companies and these LLCs, and unfortunately, the city can't even find half of these landlords. And in some of these houses, even the ones that y'all letting being purchased, they're just being used to pull equity and neglect the tenant. So if there should be something written for tenants to pay water bill, when that rent succeeds more than what you could afford, that should be left on the landlord. That should not be left on the tenant. I get that we use it, but why am I paying $2,400 in rent, paying lights, food, health insurance, and can barely afford to live? And this landlord doesn't even have to come to the city and address him not being responsible for the water bill. And I don't know how much this is true, but I was informed that some landlords can use the water bill as a write-off. I'm a tenant, and I always paid my water bill, but my landlord came down to the city and took my name off the water bill, and I still pay it. But there's no answer or response to him about anything, even the smart meters that's supposed to go on there. And if a tenant or the landlord don't respond to the water company about the smart meter, our bill is gonna double in the next 30 days. So I get it, they should give us some notice. It should be in the lease, but if the landlord is using that as some type of write-off and we're still paying it in their name, it's not fair to us. It's not fair to anybody. So I don't know how this is gonna work out because these landlords can't be found half of the time. They hide behind these management companies that's running around bullying your tenants, raising the rent, not coming down to rent stabilization board to do it. It's so much that come along that. But you also have apartment buildings that landlords are turning these houses into 3 apartments. The water bill is coming in. Hey, the water jumped. I need $50 a month. And out of fear of being homeless, they're paying it. So I get that we should know. I'm a tenant that knows that if I don't pay that water bill, that's the first way my landlord's gonna get me out through the courts. So we might need to look into how a tenant is notified and how does the city actually know that the landlord is gonna take responsibility for their actions. Thank you.
Thank you, Shakila. Councilwoman Feliciano, I know this was your ordinance.
Thank you, Council President. So, to your points, ma'am, thank you for speaking on it. This is not a notice that will go out to say who's paying the water bill. This is that the landlords have to provide notice to the tenants for things like when they send out advisories about boil the water first. There's something in the water. There's something wrong. There's advisories that are being sent out. Those are the notices that's being referenced in this ordinance, that they have to let you all know what's happening so that you can take precautions if necessary. We hope that there wouldn't be anything else happening, but just in case there were, or if there's things about you have to have the meter changed. I don't know if your unit is nearby where it is, or if you're in a house where you have to let the people in to do whatever they have to do. They have to serve notice to let the tenants know what's going on. To your issue about the landlords paying the bill, and then tenants having to suffer when they don't. I've been in discussions with people at the water department to talk about if there was a way, because at one time the water was in the tenant's name despite the landlord, but then something changed where they can't differentiate or something. I'm not quite sure, and I don't want to speak off key, but that issue has been brought forward as well about how to protect so your water is not cut off and so you are not being mistreated with the increase in a price because the landlord just wants to do that. And to your point about the LLCs and everything else, this council as a whole has questioned, right, the process about why, trying to get down to who is behind the LLC and what exactly is happening. Unfortunately, there are just in some cases where they cannot, right? Where the administration cannot. It's under the LLC name, and that is what it is. But we're always thinking and talking about ways to try to make things better. But to answer about this ordinance, it's that they have to serve notice of any advisories or things that you need to know. Whether you're responsible for the bill or not, you're still drinking the water, using the water, and everything else. You have a right to know what's happening. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman Feliciano. Mr. Garcia?
I believe you have a motion.
What's wrong? We did. We motioned and we seconded, didn't we?
We did.
We did. Yeah.
We did.
So we go to a vote now.
Frisbee. And we did. You said there's
Yeah.
No, I thought I had asked if anybody was,
Oh.
any question.
and if there was anybody to speak to the ordinance, which comes first, and then
My
somebody
apologies.
spoke, and then after that, I did not get a motion in a second.
Wait, we have a motion to approve 25-063.
So moved.
Thank you. If there's no discussion, we can have a roll call. Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg, Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-64, ordinance revising, amending, and supplementing Chapter 316, Rules of Procedure of the Trenton Municipal Code. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this ordinance at this time? Seeing none, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg,
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Abstain.
noted. Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. And Madam President, we're moving on to resolutions at this time. There is one walk-on resolution.
Yes.
We will be numbering that as 25-235. And if you'd like, I can read that resolution. Or
Yes,
title
please.
of that resolution.
The walk-on?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Resolution accepting a bid and awarding a contract to Whitson's Food Service Bronx, parentheses, LLC for the 2025 Summer Food Service Program for the Department of Recreation, Natural Resources and Culture. This contract shall be awarded from June 30th, 2025 to August 22nd, 2025 in an amount not to exceed $370,303.05. Bid 2025-46.
Thank you.
And Madam President, at this time, if there are any items that you or the council want to extract for questions or extract from potential consent agenda?
Yes. Are there any council members who wish to have any questions on for the resolutions?
And if there are none, if you want to make a motion to.
Council President?
Okay.
Councilwoman Williams.
Thank you, ma'am. 233 and 234?
I'm sorry, say it one more time. 234?
Sure. Yep, 233 and
234.
then 234.
Got it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. That's it? All right, thank you. I think that's it, Mr. Garcia.
Understood, Madam President.
So we can have Councilwoman Williams for 25-233 and 234. Director Onatary, if you're available. Oh, see him. Oh, Mr. Leah.
Hi, Mr. Wade.
Hello, this is Hector Weir, Assistant Director of Public Works, representing Director Onatari, who is on vacation.
Thank you very much. So my question is, so regarding West State Street, I'm really glad that this section between Parkside and Prospect will be worked on. But I was curious as to the portion of West State between North Warren to Calhoun, or even the further part, even going towards Prospect. I know the state of New Jersey has decided that they were going to try to take some responsibility of West State Street. And with all the construction at the State House, particularly, and the moving of lines, it's pretty bad. So can you let us know, what the situation is on repaving West State, also between North Warren all the way to Calhoun, and then even further, hopefully, to Prospect Street, because I've gotten a bunch of complaints about that.
Well, the West State Street project have been long time coming, since 2021. This project has been put on the back burner for so much different reasons, from contractors to designers. And then now we are glad that it's up for voting today. We hope that this goes through and this West State Street problem comes to an end. For the section of West State Street between Parkside and St. Egan Drive, that's already on a design. So that will be coming up probably in the next couple of council meetings coming up. As far as the state, I can't speak to that right now. There will be a separate negotiation between the state and our Director Onatari.
Okay, so as far as the state, would they be responsible from Barrack Street to Calhoun, or from Warren to Calhoun?
Well, that would probably be from Barrack Street to Calhoun.
Okay, so then Warren to, from Barrack to Warren, and then from Calhoun to Prospect. Is that something in the next few years, or maybe later this year is a possibility, or is that on the planning board at all, or on your board of plans, rather?
I don't see the possibility of that being done this year, probably in the next year. or two, probably.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. That takes care of my question for that one, sir.
All
And
right.
then my other question regarding 234, and very thankful this is happening for Chestnut because that's sorely needed also. And this will help folks in the north and the east wards. Do you have, after tonight's hopeful approval, do you have an expected start date? Because I know it says during a period of 75 calendar days from notice to proceed.
Yeah, if these both get approved today, hopefully in August, we should be commencing construction.
Okay, that would be outstanding. And then associated with that, Greenwood Avenue will probably get started in the next several weeks after school ends, I think.
Yes, Greenwood Avenue waiting for school to close, and certainly all schools are closed now. So probably in the next 1 week, 2 weeks, that project will be on its way.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Mr. Weir, we have Councilman Harrison.
Did we ever get any information about what's going to be happening with Hamilton Avenue, Chambers? You spoke about Greenwood Avenue, but is there any update on what's going to be happening with Hamilton Avenue and Chambers?
I don't have any update offhand right now. Yes, so I can get to you with that probably tomorrow. I can let you know.
Yeah, because those streets are in dire need.
Yes.
Same thing with Greenwood Avenue. It's been massive craters.
So what happened is most of those streets were cut by PSNG doing a gas line replacement project. We met with them in probably 1 week, 2 weeks ago. So PSNG is going to give us their schedule and their list, and then they will put a timeline on when those streets are going to be paved. So as soon as I get that, I will share that information with you.
So Greenwood probably and Chambers probably goes to school, lets out, hopefully. Same thing with Hamilton. Hopefully it's going to get done soon because it's in dire need.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, I'll be looking for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weir.
Thank you.
Council President,
Councilwoman Feliciano.
I don't have a question. I have a statement about 25-226, if I may.
Yes.
Just for public consumption. So it said the reason why we're doing this, we haven't adopted the budget. The tax bills need to be issued for the next quarter. So people will be getting estimated bills, ensuring that they can still remit taxes and quarterly payments on or about August 1st due date. So I just wanted to make sure. And then it says if the estimated bills are not mailed, then they'll be forced to remit 2 payments back to back, which may cause a hardship on the budget. So that's why this is important for us to do this, but that for people to know that they'll be receiving an estimated bill so that we can still keep billing the people. That's the only statement I wanted to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yep.
Mr. Garcia, I think we're ready for a consent agenda.
Certainly, Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve a consent agenda consisting of all the resolutions this evening.
Yes, may we have a motion to approve the resolutions?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg, Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Moving on to ordinances for first reading and introduction. Ordinance 25-20. Ordinance authorizing the city-owned sale of city-owned property commonly known as 36 Southern Street and identified on the city tax map as Block 1102, Lot 21, pursuant to NJSA 40A 1213B5 to Salam Rutherford for the sale price of $3,000. And Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to approve.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
May
Second.
we have a second? Thank you.
Roll call, Vice President Edwards.
Ordinance.
I'm sorry, I have a question before we vote.
Okay.
There's different, and forgive me if I'm just missing something, but the statutes, the state statutes cited in this one and the next one are different from, and the next two are
It
different
says
from all of the other.
B5 and,
Yeah.
right, and 13C.
12-13B5 and all of the other ones that we've voted on was 12-13C. Is there a reason why they're different?
Hold on.
I didn't catch that before.
Yeah, 20, 21, it's,
Council President, if I may, I believe that was also a typo. If you look at the interior of the documents, they recite the proper citation. If you give me a brief moment, I'll confirm that.
okay, so it should be 40A-12-13C for 2021 and 25.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, my titles say,
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
To include 13C. Thank you.
okay, with that,
We had a motion and we're on a vote. Council Vice President.
Okay. Do we need a motion to approve, to amend that, or is it just going to be corrected?
Sure.
I'll defer to the solicitor.
Do we have to amend it on floor?
They could just be amended. It is non-substantial. They could be amended to reflect the proper statute.
Do we need a motion to amend, or can we?
No, you do not. It could just be
We
amended.
don't, we could just amend it. Okay.
Council President, if I may be heard, Jim Beach, Chief of Staff. So the statute that's referred in there, 40A 12-13B5, refers to sale of real estate contiguous to the real property being sold. That's in an undersized, it's undersized to be developed on. And I think that's why that was cited in those two ordinances.
So they're supposed to be B5 for 2021 and 25.
That's correct. So the citation is correct in those two ordinances.
Thank you for undersized. Thank you for the clarification, Mr. Beach.
And Madam, oh, I'm sorry.
I don't mean to hold up the process here. I know we all want to go home soon, but the depth and width of this property is 21 by 100. I wouldn't consider that as an undersized property that you can't develop on. So maybe it should be 12-13C, because this is particularly larger than some of the ones that were under the other state statute, which I saw earlier was 14 by 100 feet. This one is twice the depth of that property, or nearly twice the depth. Or width.
This is what? It's a continuous lot. They're two side by side.
Okay. Oh, it's two side by side. So this is two lots.
There's
It's
two
not-
lots.
It's not stating that. Okay. As long as the statute is correct, that's my concern.
I believe he
So-
said it was the council vice president. He said-
So it is.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, yes. Well, we can-
Thank
it's my
you.
vote. Thank you.
Madam President?
Councilwoman Feliciano.
So this is our first reading and introduction of all of these.
Yes.
I just would like to state that I'm hopeful that by the time we get to the second reading, that this draft policy will be complete so that I'll be able to vote the next time when it comes to the second reading. So I'm hopeful. I'll vote that we can go ahead and have these put, yes. But I'm asking respectfully that this draft policy thing be done so that the council has the policy that we can refer to moving forward. Yes, that's my vote. Thank you.
Yes is your vote?
Yes,
She said yes. Thank
thank
you.
you.
Mr. Garcia.
Okay. So moving to the vote then.
Yes, both said yes.
Roll call. Vice President Edwards?
We did, but it's
Wait.
okay. We did. Where's it? Feliciano just went for her
Yes.
vote.
Okay.
We both say.
I'm at Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-21, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 23 Summer Street and identified on the city tax map as block 4004, lot 47, pursuant to NJSA 40A 1213B5 to Jean Lavarin for the sale price of $2,500.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg.
Abstain.
Noted. Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-25, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 35 Montgomery Place and identified on the city tax map as block 2205, lot 5 pursuant to NJSA 48-1213B5 to Sheldine Millington for the sale price of $1,500.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-28, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 155 Houghton Avenue and identified on the city tax map as block 21601, lot 15 pursuant to NJSA 40A 1213C to Elba I. Colon for the sale price of $2,500.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-28, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 257 and 255 Walnut Avenue, identified on the city tax map as block 27601, lots 14 and 15 pursuant to NJSA 40A 12-13C to Samuel Robinson for the sale price of $20,000.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-59, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 447 Parkway Avenue, identified on the city tax map as block 35002, lot 4, pursuant to NJSA 40A 1213C to Joshua L. Baker for the sale price of $2,500.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Recused?
Noted. Abstention. Ordinance 25 motion carried. Ordinance 25-60, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 294 Rutherford Avenue and identified on the city tax map as block 4403, lot 11, pursuant to NJSA 40A 1213C to Micah Properties LLC for the sale price of $5,000.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-61, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 942 South Clinton Avenue, 101 Mulberry Street, 31 and 35 Sanhecan Drive, 714 Stuyvesant Avenue, and identified on the city tax map as block 16210, lot 1, block 22802, lot 8, block 34404, lots 17 and 15, block 6102, lot 29, pursuant to NJSA 48-1213C to Sababu Development LLC for the sale price of $120,000.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second, Madam President.
Council Vice President,
I just wanted to make note, same as earlier,
13.
there's a typo on the docket itself, not on the ordinance itself, where it says 12-12 again, instead of 12-13C. And my vote, is yes.
Thank you.
Noted, we'll make a correction if necessary.
Oh, we didn't ask for a vote.
Understood. So that might be another statute.
Right.
Noted as well. Moving on to the vote. If there's no other discussion, Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-65, ordinance authorizing the acquisition of certain real property located at 218 Brunig Avenue, block 22802, lot 25, Trenton for the $110,000 from Barrera Properties LLC pursuant to NJSA 48-12-3 as it's written here.
Thank you. May we have a motion to approve 25065?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Madam President.
Council Vice President,
I just want to confirm that the state statute cited on here is correct. Is it supposed to be 12-3 or is this another typo that's supposed to be 13C?
This is an acquisition.
it's an acquisition of sales, so it might be.
Oh, it's an acquisition. I'm sorry.
And I see Councilwoman Williams' hand is up. Were you finished with yours?
That was it.
Okay. I was going to ask B.A. Richardson if she wanted to come up just to kind of discuss the acquisition and the purpose of us doing it, but I see Councilwoman Williams has a hand up.
Thank you, ma'am. That, you actually took the words right out of my mouth. I had a good number of constituents who live in the East Trenton area ask me about that purchase and the one a couple doors down.
Yes. So B.A. Richardson, do you mind coming and just explaining why we are acquiring those properties, please?
Good evening, Council President, Maria Richardson, Business Administrator. Yes, the city is acquiring those two properties because we are demolishing the property between those as a raw property, and we will most likely pay more money for stabilizing those two properties than if we purchase it and demolish all three.
Thank you. Councilwoman Williams?
Yep. No, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that because I know in the past you've shared that the average cost of a demo is $35,000 per home. So this is hopefully, while it's not going to necessarily save us a lot of money in the immediate, it'll definitely save us money in the long term. And hopefully we'll find a developer for this. And then also the emergency demolition that had to be done a few years back at 237. And that's be exciting to have some development on Brunig. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Garcia, I think we're ready for a vote.
Certainly. Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-66, ordinance authorizing the acquisition of certain real property located at 222 Brunig Avenue, block 22802, lot 27, Trenton, for $110,000 from Vincent Palladino pursuant to NJSA 4812-3, excuse me.
Thank you. May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg,
Yes.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Yes.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carried. Ordinance 25-67, ordinance amending ordinance 25-11 for the sale of city-owned property commonly known as 14 Ward Avenue and identified on the city tax map as block 25702, lot 34, pursuant to NJSA 4812-13B5 to Joshua S. Vega to correct the sale price.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Council President?
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Thank you. So we're amending this from $5,000. The correct agreed upon price was $1,000. And it says consistent with this value of narrow, irregular sized lot. So we approved this back. Yeah, we adopted it back in April. So what happened? How did we get here to say now that we want to adjust it from 5,000 to 1,000? And I don't have the application or anything in front of me, but when it was put in, was that the proposed price? Was that the agreed upon price? How are we moving from 5,000 to 1,000? Right, and what was the size? Because here we go back to the whole thing about the process and asking about how we're doing this.
Council President, if I may.
Yes, B.A. Richardson.
Councilwoman Feliciano, I don't have that information, but I can submit it to you tomorrow once I inquire to the individuals working on this.
Thank
Do you
you.
have any information?
Again, this is why I was concerned about saying about a process, because the wording, the price is consistent with this value of narrow, irregular sized lots. So we're setting a criteria here, but then we're going with what people propose at other times. That is why it is critical that we have a process noted so we know what we're talking about when things come in front of us. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Feliciano.
Hearing no other discussion,
No.
move to the,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
oh,
My
I'm sorry.
apologies. Yes.
Moving on to the vote.
Yes.
Roll call, Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg,
No.
Councilwoman Frisbee,
Abstain.
Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Abstain?
Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Noted, that motion failed. And Madam President, moving on with the agenda this evening, I believe we reached the point of public comment. If I could have the
Yes.
public comment clipboard, please. And so the public comment will be 5 minutes for each individual. You may address anything that you wish. The council is not obligated to respond. And Madam President, we have 20 individuals this evening. First individual up for public comment is that Robin S. Washington?
Good evening. My name is Robin S. Washington. I live at 447 West Hanover Street. I'm here before council again in regards to 444 and 446 West Hanover Street, which are two vacant lots directly across from my home. I'm still waiting for a response as to how I can complete the acquisition of these properties. I've come before the council. This is my fourth time. I have not had a response from anyone in regard to what the next step is or whatever the procedures are. And I would just like a definitive answer. I put in this application September of 2019. I've come to the office on multiple occasions over the years to find out what's going on with these properties. As I stated at the last council meeting, when I spoke to Mr. Liston, who is no longer here, he indicated to me if an individual was not going to purchase those lots, build and live on them themselves, that the property would not be sold, that it would just sit there. So again, I'm here as a resident of West Hanover Street with a desire to improve my neighborhood by building affordable housing to accommodate some of the unhoused people who are in the city of Trenton. And I just want to make a comment. There are no bad neighborhoods in Trenton. There may be some less desirable ones, some that need improvement, but there are really no bad neighborhoods in Trenton. I worked in law enforcement for 30 years, and if we want to talk about neighborhoods, if you go to Princeton, there's gangs in Princeton. Being on the gang task force a few years back, there was going to be a gang altercation in prestigious Palmer Square. I'm a proud resident of Trenton who would like to stay in Trenton and improve the quality of life for some individuals who are looking for housing. Thank you.
Victor Irizarry.
Good evening. It's a pleasure again to be before you. Talk fast. I got to slow down a little bit. Coming here, I noticed that, again, there was a big issue about drug use in America and the racism. And there's a problem between a definition of or properly identifying racism. Racism is a big umbrella that underneath falls a lot of prejudices. And that will be, one will be religion, one will be, let's say, culture. You might be from different race, but different culture, like say the Hispanics, and you got the Cubans and the Puerto Ricans, all right, different cultures. And then you got the male, female, again, that's prejudices, discrimination, so basis of discrimination. What it appears that racism is a falsehood that was created to keep black people down. But the black people that were to be kept down were righteous black people by unrighteous black people who their leader or their father developed this plan to overthrow the righteous people who ruled the earth from the beginning of times, creation on earth, God's creation of himself on earth, or that people. God is a people. So the second coming of power, authority on earth, which we consider the devil, Shaitan, Iblis, who is his actual name, according to the Nation of Islam, is Yaqub. I'm Victor Irizarry, 19 Moreland Avenue, Trenton, New Jersey. I'm inactive. I'm not active anymore with the Nation of Islam, but I am registered as Victor X. That's where I get this information from. So the development of racism was a trick by the so-called original devil of our planet Earth, who was born 8,004 years ago to keep righteous people down, but it was black people keeping black people down. That is still happening today. So as born that plan, this man, Yaqub, developed, he started having what they call a grafting process, which was used in the plantations in North America, and that was breeding a lighter skinned people from the darker skinned people until you got to the so-called the white race. Now, we, the Hispanic, are a combination of all those races, and now that's why I call them. We consider ourselves the beige people. What I'm trying to make is racism is a falsehood that keeps the same. It appears to be black against white against black, black against white, but it's actually black against black, and then it comes down all the races when you have each race fighting each other. Where in America, we have the righteous and the unrighteous. That's where America's established, like President Reagan, Ronald Reagan's called the city on a hill. And it's actually the land, the promised land that we've been promised by Almighty for we to finally get to confront one another face to face, the righteous against the righteous. It is not white and black. It's amongst our own selves, either within ourselves, to get the righteousness out of us. So I'm a victim of this, being that I'm Puerto Rican American. My Puerto Rican is, if that's the correct word, is Spanish. What is that Spanish? Actually, it's Basque. Between France and Spain, Basque, African, and Indian, Taino. And then you got the Puerto Ricans who are Spanish, Portuguese, possibly French, and then also with Taino and a little bit of African. And I experienced that racism myself because I'm pro-African American, particularly those of 1555 to the year 1619, who are the true bloodline of what we consider the Nation of Islam, God, or the family of God on the planet Earth, the original people of the planet Earth. And I'm a victim of that. So I wanted to get into something else, but my time is running out. So just to clarify that racism is a falsehood. All right, it's not about colors, it's about good and bad, right and wrong, like the police, law enforcement or the army say, the good guys and the bad guys. In America, it's truly, we are the good guys, but there's devils amongst us, actual people devils amongst us who are considered bad guys, and that's from politics all the way to recreational sports or wherever you want to, however you participate as a human being in America. And that's the issue. We'll never have peace completely because of the devils, which are the bad guys. And that's what we have to consider in politics and religion and economics. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Osari.
Aima Ahmed. Natalie is that Garcia or Garrica?
One of the young ladies, Natalie.
That's what it looks like here. Natalie, is that correct?
Do we have an adult with her?
That's what I have up. I have quite a few. I'm going to go through these names. If an individual is of age.
Do we have, can they be with an adult or how does that work? Yes, okay. So we just, because we just want to make sure that there's an adult present with them.
Council President, if I may,
Yes.
I can look this up. I can do, if you could pause and maybe go past the children. I don't know the rules, professional rules with respect to if they need a guardian to come here and make a representation at a public meeting. I don't know either way.
Okay,
I just want to make sure before we allow that to happen. So if I could ask that the adults speak first and then give me a quick moment to get your answer on that.
Can we just, Natalie, can you give us a couple of minutes so we can check into something first, okay? To make sure you don't need your mommy with you, okay. Can we go down the list, Mr. Garcia, to the next adult while he looks it up?
Sure, I'm going to name names. That's what I could do. So I had Miss Garcia, then I have Dubayari Garcia Vargas or Veras. I have Anahi Fields, Star Wright. Okay.
So only, we have a guardian for Ms. Starright? Yep, okay, thank you so much. And we're just gonna wait for Mr. Bridges to look into the others. Thank you, yes, that's what I said, yeah. She can come up, you could, as long as you're with her, we just wanted to make sure a guardian doesn't need to be present. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anai.
Hi, Ms. Anai.
Oh. I live in Edgewood Avenue 754, and I'm here for Howard's Healthy Choices.
Howard's Healthy Choices, okay, thank you.
Oh, what do I say?
Can I come up with her? Would it be okay?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Councilwoman President. My name is Star Wright. I live at 754 Edgewood. We are here on behalf of Briggs Library. I don't know the address, but it's located on South Walter Avenue in East Trenton. We're here just to advocate that we would like for Ms. Howard to keep the building. It is up to be taken from her. These children that are here with us, they came to speak passionately about the program and what it has offered to them. I could just say that, you know, the place that she has established has served as a safe haven for most of the kids. It keeps a lot of our kids off of the streets, so they have some place to go. Ms. Howard is there late night. She provides food for them. I know in school systems, we're in Trenton Public Schools, they've taken out cursive writing. She has offered cursive writing. My daughter's in 5th grade. She knows how to sign her name. She knows how to write a script. Ms. Howard has been a mentor to a lot of our children. She helps them learn how to deal with emotions, which a lot of children do not have. She's a mom, she's a dad to a lot of these children that are here. And we just want to just say that we really want Howard's Healthy Choices to be able to stay in her possession so that she can continue to bless the community and give these young people a place to continue to come to.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Anahi.
Lorna Walker.
Hi. Good evening,
Good
Madam
evening.
President and City Council members. I'm with Howard's Healthy Choices. My name is Lorna Walker, as you said. I'm here to respectfully request that HHC be allowed to remain at its current location, the Old Briggs Library, 115 Greenwood Avenue, to continue to provide the excellent after-school and full-day summer learning programs and community supportive services that it has for the last 9 years. Howard's Healthy Choices has been at this location since 2017, providing after-school and summer learning programs to children ages 7 to 14, many of whom have IEPs, ADD, and other learning challenges. This year's program is scheduled to begin next Monday, June 23rd, and run through August 29th. The summer learning program has structured academics every morning until noon to keep the kids on track academically and reduce summer slide. They have math, reading with the books that were specifically ordered for them for summer. They're taught things that set this program apart from others, such as cursive writing, financial literacy, starting a business through a partnership with Chase, chess and debate training, hydroponics, gardening, and environmental awareness, first aid, and other programs that make this a valuable resource for them. They also learn about first aid and healthcare fields through a partnership with Capital Health. They are part of several daily enrichment activities and scheduled trips, including trips to a working farm last year, and they learned how to go to Princeton on a trip, went to the farmer's market, and the library to have exposure to Princeton University. They are provided nutritional breakfast, lunch, and afternoon snacks. There are 50 kids who are scheduled to start on the 23rd. If this program is not continued, they will have nowhere to go for the summer, and their parents will have no structured care for them over the summer while they work. Ms. Howard also provides neighborhood supportive services, home goods, clothing, and other supplies that the community needs. She is the hub in her location, and is a valuable asset and resource. And so again, I respectfully ask that the summer program be allowed to go forward June 23rd and through the August 29th timeframe, and that she be allowed to remain at the Old Bridge Library to provide the services that she successfully has provided for the past 9 years. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Walker. So just for a point of clarity, Director Bridges just stated that the young people are allowed to speak if they signed up. If you would like to come up one by one, or if you all just want to stand up together and then one person can speak for the group. No. Yeah, just for the sake of time, if you all are all on the same page, one person can speak for the group. Just state your name, sweetheart.
My name is Mayael Williams from Howard's Healthy Choices, and I feel like this program should continue being because it teaches me a lot. And before I didn't know how to do cursive writing, and also we learn how to read better, math, and more educational stuff that we don't really have in school because they're taking it out.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Thank you. All right.
I'm here with you. Go ahead, sweetie. Hi, my name is Zaisha Matthews, and I feel like we should keep Howard's Healthy Choices because Miss Howard, she's like a second mother to me. Like, she teach me stuff that I didn't know. Like, at first, I did not know how to read, like, slow. It wasn't good. But when she taught me how to do stuff I didn't know how to do, it was good because I'm better at stuff. I do public speaking. We do ambassadors. We help out with stuff. And we also do things that we don't do. We also go out and help the community, feed the homeless and all that.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Muskan Amjad, and I think we should keep Howard's Healthy Choices because it helps me with my confidence. I was not confident at all. And then Miss Howard, she helped us, and then I gained my confidence. In reading I wasn't good at because every day mostly we read at school, and some words if I need help with, Miss Howard will help. And if I need my improving with reading, math, whatever, she will help us and do fun activities to help us learn the math, English, reading, and whatever.
Thank you.
My name is Danayari Garcia. I think we should keep the program because it helps us improve our reading and our math. For example, I can't say bad, but I was kind of bad at my math, and being at the program had just helped me improve with my math. So that's why I think that we should keep the program.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Natalie, and I think we should keep the program because, as my sister said, it does help us with our education and our math, and it helps us read more. And I think we should keep it in its place because when we go there, it has a lot of fun stuff and things that we learn from things that we don't learn at school.
Thank you.
My name is Ima. So I think the program should stay because we do reading, math, like all they said. We do physical education as well. We do races. We do races, so we run to the board and we do write cursive, do spelling, do a math question. And we have groups for reading. So based on your grade and your level, then you go with your group and read in a circle.
Thank you so much. Our last person.
My name is Aiden Geller, and I think we should keep the program because, so basically it helps me with my reading and math. I used to be very bad at reading, and Ms. Howard would help me read a low level book and then go higher and higher.
Thank you so much, Mr. Aiden. Thank you all.
In case I missed anybody else, I have Tanetta Howard Michael McCormick.
So Netta's coming.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hold
no.
on, Mr. Netta, Mr. Netta's
Mr.
present.
McCormick, Tanetta Howard is actually here. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hi.
Good evening.
I'm Tanetta Howard. My address is 206 Fergus. My address again is 206 Farragut Avenue, Trenton, New Jersey. I'm gonna take you back a little bit. I inquired this building under Mayor Jackson, and it's been 9 years. When I acquired the building, some things wasn't right with the building. When I went to look at the building, they said it was, but it wasn't. So I had been in that building and I did a lot of things myself in the building. When Mayor Reed came about, I did talk to him about what was going on with the building. We tried to get, I'm sorry, I was supposed to get solar on the building, but I don't know, the director seems to come and go. So it was underway and then it stopped. I met with an attorney here to go over some things, and then that person left. So then I got a notice last month that they wanted me to vacate the building. But for the life of me, first of all, someone could have called me and talked to me. That's number one. I do a lot in that building, from having AA, NA, we have an older dance team. We have meetings once a month. The mayor's there. We have the police director who's there, and a lot of other people who comes from Capitol Health. My kids get the word out about anything. If you bring us flyers, they know they have to do community service. We're going to get it out. Recently, they just bought us the water flyers, envelopes that they want the kids to pass out. They don't bring us a little bit, they bring us a lot because we pass it out throughout the neighborhood. Everything is done outside the box there. When I do the kids in the education, and it's not just me, I have volunteers that come in because these kids do not pay. They don't pay. These are COVID children. We have to now help the schools and the teachers with this problem. We all know reading and math is a problem. We can't put it all on the teachers anymore because now they're tired. So we do it at Howard Healthy Choices. I bring you some pictures where my kids dissect a brain, a goat's brain, and a cow's brain. Yes, they do. Real hands in hand on real stuff. It's real stuff that they do. They have to have real stuff that they do. I have a teacher that teaches in Trenton Public Schools. He's been with me all 9 years. The man gets $200. I have fundraisers outside of the building to pay for a lot of things. It's just something that that I'm sitting over there making money and I don't want to pay anything. No. My lease said that I was supposed to pay a light bill. Well, no one ever gave me a light bill or how much the light bill is for the month. None of that. I've never gotten, this is what the water bill costs, this is what it is for this month, this is what you're going to pay. I never got any of that. When me and the mayor talked, it was, don't worry about it. You're doing the work. We get it together. We just have to get it together. So that's what I was assuming that was going to happen. I have talked to Joe several times. Every time we get close to getting something together, somebody is pulled away and it's not me. And then it's left on the table. And then when the next person come in, all they see is what I supposed to owe. But if I was told not to and to continue what I'm doing, that's what I do.
Right.
These kids are very important to us, period.
Thank you, Ms. Howard. That is your time.
Okay.
There are some questions I know I have, but we'll discuss later.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I have pictures that I will, I guess, send to all of you guys. Okay. Oh,
We can take them here.
oh, you can take them?
Yes.
He'll get it. Thank you.
Right. No problem. Thank you.
Mr. McCormick, I think.
Mr. McCormick, yes.
Thank you, Madam President. and
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Michael McCormick. I live at 153 Route 526 in Allentown, New Jersey. But I'm here this evening as a 29-year member of the Kiwanis Club of Trenton. And I wanted to stop by. Actually, hopefully you might recall receiving an email from me. Some of you have responded already within the past couple days, because we are preparing for this year's 249th annual reading of the Declaration of Independence in Trenton, which will be on Tuesday, July 8th at noon, at the very same spot, the very same time, and the very same day as it was first read in Trenton in 1776. And this year, the Declaration program will be part of Heritage Weekend, which will run from July 4th through 8th. We're very excited about the opportunity to bring back some additional activities to the city of Trenton on July 4th itself. And so I have some flyers here, which I'd like to leave for each one of you. There's a Democracy Day picnic in Mill Hill Park on July 4th. It will feature readings by Dr. Martin Luther King, performances by a drill team, and Lift Every Voice and Sing. It promises to be really something that the community can galvanize around and come out and gather and celebrate the holiday weekend. And of course, there are other activities as well. We have about a dozen different programs planned from the 4th through the 8th. We're very, very happy and proud to partner with the city, with the Trent House, with the old barracks, with a number of entities. The idea here is that we're going to do two major things. We're going to celebrate as a community, and we're also going to bring as many as possible people from outside Trenton into the city. You know, there are 30 million people that live within a 100-mile radius of where we are gathered this evening. Each one of those people should want to come to the city of Trenton and enjoy the city and learn about the tremendous role that it has played in the history of our nation. Country wouldn't be here if it wasn't for what happened at the Battle of Trenton. And that history carries forth to this day and is celebrated wonderfully by our very diverse community. So many talented people who contribute to make Trenton what it is today. So we hope that you can all join us. We hope that you can help us spread the word. And we wish you a very happy 4th of July.
Thank you so much, Mr. McCormick.
Ebony Day.
Ebony Day, 573 Rutherford Avenue. You guys had already touched on what I wanted to say about as far as acquiring housing. The application was already, I guess, approved, that you guys should have already seen, where it states what you would need. So I was trying to figure out like why some of the council didn't approve that, or was saying that what she was saying, Miss Jenna, that's no longer here, saying that it was unfair when on the application it asks you like what's your bid. So again, it's not, you know, if this house is this much square footage and the other house is the same and the other person bid more, like that shouldn't be a problem. So, I mean, you already touched on it.
Thank you so much,
that's
Ms.
all I can
Day.
say. Thank you.
Walter Mason. Demesna McLean. I apologize if I messed that up. Miss McLean? No? Vincent Bridget. That's it. Bridget.
Bridget.
No, Bridget.
No.
Yeah, no.
Hey, how you doing? Vincent Bridget with Trenton United Family Foundation. I'm up here on behalf of Howard Healthy Choices. I'm up here because I heard the news about them trying to get her out of there. And I'm just saying it plain and simple, basically get her out of there. I've known her for the past, I'm gonna say 5 or 6 years. When I met her, she's been nothing but a mentor to me, especially with the nonprofit, just me coming in off, having a nonprofit myself. She's been helping me out with anything I've ever asked her, she's helped me out. These kids, they special to me as well. We haven't collaborated on many occasions, and even right now, like them kids, they know who I am. And with my kids at my organization, we all are together. We do a lot of things together. Miss Howard, she the person that allowed a lot of things to happen. These kids, I watch them when they come up there. They love this woman. Everything that she does, she reminds me of myself, but she's older than me, but she reminds me of myself. Very genuine. She helps anybody. With us, with my organization, we had a problem we had a heat problem. So I just talked to her, and basically she said, come in, come right in. We partner. I know she's happy that I'm here. I know the kids happy that I'm there, but it's with the other kids as well. But the things she does for the city, for the community, and everything she does, the woman, she's beautiful inside and out. I wouldn't know why somebody would want her to get out of there because she's been doing such great things. I'm super confused. When I heard it, I'm like, for what? I don't understand it. I got somewhere to be at, but I said, I got to stay here and just at least speak my piece, because she's been nothing but loyal to me, loyal to the city, loyal to these kids, loyal to the community, and I had to be loyal to her as well. So she's helped me. So I just want y'all to hear her out, hear us out, and help her, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bridges. Mr. Bridget, sorry, my bad.
Council President, that is all the people we have for public comment at the moment. If you'd like to move on to civic comment.
Yes, thank you. Councilwoman Williams, are you still with us?
I sure am. Thank you, ma'am.
We can help Councilwoman. No, it's all right. He's going to take it off.
Oh, okay. I just want to say hello to everybody.
Hold on one sec. Oh, there you are. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us and staying on. Just want to first congratulate the kids who just a little earlier used their voices to speak for themselves and to fight for someone else. And what they were speaking about, Miss Howard and Howard's Healthy Choices. I'm not familiar with the exact situation and with Briggs Library, but having grown up in that neighborhood, I hope that this can be resolved, because I do see every time I'm there, they are trying to help feed the community, and that's really important. And I hope something could be worked out. So the next North Ward Citizens Police Advisory Council meeting has been rescheduled for next Wednesday, June 25th at 5:30 to 7 p.m. at Galilee Baptist Church, 5:30 to 7 p.m. again, and Galilee Baptist Church is at 440 MLK Boulevard. Please come and join us. Also, just wanted to also offer some point of view on some things that are happening, particularly regarding parking. And this has been something that this council has talked about for a long time. Many people complain about it, but as I think I said before, I think we're coming to a crisis moment. But just before this meeting, I was contacted by some constituents who live in the vicinity of Short Greenwood and 200 Jackson. Apparently, some of them were told by parking enforcement officers that there will be ticketing on the one block portion. It might be, gosh, maybe 4 car lengths long between 301 Jackson and 21 Short Greenwood, where there are these planners that are there to divide the streets so motorcycles and cars and things don't go through and injure someone. And what's totally ridiculous about this is they were told that even though it's only a 1 block street, that people will be required to park in the opposite direction on both sides of the street rather than just pull in, park, then back out when they need to leave. People are going to actually need to do a U-turn in the middle of Jackson and Mercer to be able to back their car in with the passenger doors towards the sidewalk so they won't get ticketed. Now, this portion of the Mill Hill neighborhood was designed in such as ways we know it now back in 1952-53 when US 1 or Route 1 was created to go from what it was, which had lights and everything, to an expressway, to a freeway. And there's nothing that the residents there, visitors can do about it. And they also just recently lost 4 parking spots to EV chargers. And at most, you may see 1 car charge and then leave, but most nights no one is parking there with an electric vehicle. It's all gas-powered vehicles, and people are afraid to park there because they don't know if they'll be ticketed. This is been a continual problem for many, many years. There's some lack of signage designating where it's safe to park, not safe to park with permit parking, but also now telling people that they have to park in the opposite direction. And this is also giving, throughout our entire city, many neighborhoods have similar issues that our parking enforcement officers work on, all kinds of things, that they have quotas, that they get a commission, all kinds of rumors and ideas are out there. But at the end of the day, some of this does seem very mercenary or very, we're trying to find ways to ticket people, and that's unfair. It's very difficult as it is for parking in the city. We need to start making things more simple than more difficult. And I know a lot of our parking enforcement officers work very, very hard, and I believe they are fair. But we definitely need to have a better system than we do. So I'm asking that our administration visit this site in the next few days before ticketing begins to figure out why this is suddenly going to be an area ticketed if cars are parked in the wrong direction when it's only a 1 block street. It's going to be creating more traffic hazards as people have to do U-turns to be able to back their car in. And again, it's just something that is really ridiculous. So hopefully Public Works and Traffic and Transportation will be able to go out and take a look and fix this problem. So thank you, everyone. God bless, and I hope we all have a great week and a great rest of our summer.
Thank you, Councilwoman Williams. Councilman Harrison.
First, could we talk about regarding the Howard's Healthy Choice of Briggs Library? Can we let know what is going on here? Why?
Right.
Why are they?
We're all unaware of it being taken.
Yeah. Could we have any idea of what is going on?
Are you asking someone?
Yes, I'm asking. Yeah.
Like administration? Are you?
Yeah, I'm asking administration. Yeah, because I'd like to know what's going on. Are we allowed to talk about this?
Okay. No.
My apologies. I was handed something that I was reading, so I was not paying close attention to what was being said. But that matter is currently in the courts and is part of litigation. And we really can't discuss that in an open session. If we'd like to list that for the next meeting, executive session, we'd be more than glad to have council come and discuss those proceedings.
Yes.
Thank you, Director Richards.
What else was? I would like to thank the Director Diego. He had an adoption event at Station 6, had 6 dogs adopted. Also have an event this weekend, Wet Noses and Fire Hoses, June 21st, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Franklin Park. We'll have pet adoptions, fire trucks, fun activities. Thank you. Thank Director Douglas. He's here, but I thank you guys for working together, collaborating, because this is great to see. Also, I would like to thank the Cancer Center at the Robert Wood Johnson. My mom has breast cancer, and they're doing a wonderful job. So if you have family members out there, please know that the Cancer Center at Robert Wood Johnson does a wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Ms. Councilwoman Frisbee.
Thank you, Council President. So I wanted to, can't speak on Howard Healthy Choices as we've been advised that is in the court system, so I'll have to reserve my comments for that. I did want to announce that we had one city stat meeting already. We have a next one that is coming up on this Wednesday, tomorrow, June 18th at 5 p.m. here in Council Chambers. My next West Ward Community Conversations will be held on Tuesday, July 8th at 5:30, and that's going to be at the police station on Artisan and Hermitage. Please come out. There's a lot of information that we need to disseminate. I also want to say thank you to everyone who came out to the Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense and the city. We collaborated with our Wear Orange event on June 7th, which was absolutely wonderful. That is our bringing awareness to gun violence in our community and how do we protect ourselves better. I want to thank everyone who came out. I want to give a special thank you to Dr. Paul Harris and his department. They did an absolutely phenomenal job, and I'm just grateful for the collaboration. It was just really great. I also want to commend Dr. Domenico Pelli on the work that he is doing, he and his team. They are really doing great work here with these animals. When we need to give accolades, I want to make sure that we are doing that. So thank you for the work that you're doing with that. I also want to, Director Anna Terry's not here, but Hector, if you would relay the work that you guys are doing. We see that you're doing, there's a lot of potholes, there's a lot of streets that need to be tended to, and you guys are out there. We see you that you're doing it. Everybody wants you in their ward, and I know you're being pulled from every which way. But we do thank you for the work that you are doing here, and even our water department. I'm appreciative of what we're doing to make sure that we are shoring up our city. I'm grateful for the presentation that was here today. It gives much clearer understanding, and hopefully our community has a better understanding, as I know that I do now having had that presentation here. And I always want to thank Mike McCormick for coming out from the Kiwanis. They do a great job with the reenactments. If you have not been, it is a great event. You want to come out and see that they do a really good job, and they do good with involving the community. I was fortunate to have taken part in it twice. I unfortunately cannot take part in it this year, but they really do a great job, and it's good to learn and remember our heritage. And let's see. There we go. I want to thank everybody for coming out. I really do want to thank the children for coming up and standing up for something that you believe in. I really commend you. It takes a lot of heart. It's a brave thing. It's a scary thing sometimes to come and stand before people, but I commend each and every one of you for coming up here and taking a moment, even though you were hesitant at some of you, but you got your nerves together, and I'm glad to see all of you come out and do what you needed to do. Ms. Roberts, I would like to speak with you afterwards regarding your property. Ms. Robin, it is, I would like to speak to you about that. I do have a little bit of information to give you. And I would thank everybody for coming out. Thank our police director, our fire director who was here, for all of you who came out to get a little bit more information. With that, I'm going to close with a portion of our city's mission statement, which is recognizing that the people of Trenton have made us guardians of the public trust. We are committed to govern with integrity and fiscal responsibility, to seek excellence in the city's operations, and to serve all the city's people with respect and compassion. And I did want to thank Chief of Staff Beach and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on your title, Maria, Ms. Richardson, but I thank you for collaborating and making sure that we are getting things in order with having a procedure in order to make sure when people are coming in to get homes, to get property, that we will have something that is uniform for everybody. But I am also equally glad that we are getting properties bought and back on the tax roll. Thank you, and I yield the rest of my time. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Frisbee. Councilwoman Feliciano, is Councilwoman Figueroa Canberra on? No, right. Councilwoman Feliciano.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for everyone staying tonight. Thank you to the children and Ms. Howard and everyone for speaking up about Howard's Healthy Choice. Shout out to you. Yeah. Again, we can't really talk about it because we have to wait and talk about it quietly because there's other conversations being had that don't allow us to discuss it. But know that we want what's best for the community, what's best for the children, right? And what's best for the good of all. Shout out to Trenton Central High School, our seniors. Last night we had Seniors Awards Night at the high, and money was given out in excess of $90,000 to our phenomenal scholars at Trenton Central High School. So shout out to the seniors. Oh yeah. Graduation is this Friday, 10 a.m. at the Cure Arena, so we're getting fired up and ready for that. So again, we want to congratulate all the seniors of 2025 from Trenton Central High School, Capital City High, and those in the surrounding areas as well. Job well done. This past Sunday, my daughter and I actually, we participated. We do every year at the Ice Cream on the Veranda at Ellerslie Museum. It's a great time. I would encourage everyone when it comes around to participate in it and other events that are happening at the museum. I'm a member, so I go in from time to time and get to experience all the goodness that they have. Also on Saturday, I was a part of the Paddle for Pink event that was new to me by the Majestic Dragons. It was really cool. It happened at Mercer County Boathouse in honor of those with breast cancer. And so it was interesting being able to paint the eyes of the dragon to waken them up as they go out and paddle in the water. But it was for a wonderful, wonderful cause. So that was great as well. Thank you to everyone with their various Pride and Juneteenth events and flag raising events that have been happening. On the 19th, this Thursday, the city is having their Juneteenth event in Mill Hill Park from 4 to 8 p.m. Live entertainment and music. Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg, her next Southward CPAC meeting, she asked me to announce, is going to be on Thursday, June the 26th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. at St. Bart's Lutheran Church, located at 1746 South Clinton Avenue. Her meetings are every fourth Thursday of the month. This past Saturday, we were able to participate in the first responder celebration at St. Mary's on Adeline Street. That was very nice, where they honored Trenton Police Department, the fire department, EMS workers, the sheriff's department, and state police. So that was nice to be a part of that and to actually present awards to the state police and then to Trenton Fire Department. We didn't stay for Trenton Police, but we know that they were honored as well. So shout out to you as well. On another note, I found out today that I've been appointed to the Board of Trustees for the New Jersey Coalition Against Human Trafficking. I'm excited about that because human trafficking is real and it is happening, and we need people, boots on the ground, that are a part of helping find solutions and getting the information out and helping people. And so I am proud to say that I'm now a part of that cause and that fight for the people in the city of Trenton and abroad. To Ms. Day, I just wanted to say to you, thank you for coming up and speaking. The questioning about the property, I can't speak for Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg, but I could speak from my perspective because I abstained from all of the ones tonight, was because we just want a process in place so that it is right and fair for everyone. Whatever that process looks like, if people came in and made an offer and the city agreed to it, we just want it in writing so that so that we don't have, well, how come for this size lot it's this and how come for that? That was never made clear to us as to what the process and procedure was. So it's not that no one wants you not to have anything or anyone else. We just want to be right. So as a body, when we come forward, we're sure that no one can say, well, why this for that person and why not that? For myself, I have a very extensive audit and investigative background. So I'm used to protocol and policy and procedure. And so I will always ask for that to protect not only you, the constituent, but to protect the administration and to protect us as council people as well, right? We want to be above board and open in what it is that we do. And we want to be fair and just and right in how we do it as well. So I offer that to you. Just as some explanation. Again, I thank everybody for coming out. Enjoy the holiday that's coming up. Be safe. God bless, and we'll see you around. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Council Vice President Edwards.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have too much to say tonight. I do want to say, in regards to Howard's Healthy Choices, I hope that everything works out for the best, for the children, for our community. It's unfortunate. I found out today it's, tied up in litigation. And when it's in litigation, we're prohibited from saying too much about it. But we will, as a council, meet with the administration in an executive session to further discuss the details of the situation and see if we come to some type of an agreement that's best for everyone. So, and I want to say thank you all so much for coming in. Thank you all. Children, you're so beautiful and so intelligent, and I can just see how impactful Howard's Healthy Choices are in your lives. So kudos to you for coming in. I know it's very, very intimidating. It makes you shy to speak up in front of everyone, but you all did so very well, and I'm very proud of you. You're welcome. I want to say thank you to my council colleagues for the wonderful edible arrangements earlier. And they sent them to me because I just recently lost my pop-pop. We just buried him on Friday, and that meant a lot to me. So thank you all for that. And I want to say Election Day has passed, but we still have November's general election coming up where we have to fight as hard as we can. We just recently decided out of the 5 or 6 gubernatorial or governor candidates that were on the ballot just earlier this month. And now that we have made our choice of one person. And I want to say for those who identify as a Democrat, as I do, to get behind this woman and push. Because Trenton cannot afford to go back into the hands of a Republican governor. The last time we had a Republican governor, Trenton was stripped of $60 million. And that we cannot afford to do again. Since we have gotten that money taken away from us, this administration, this council has worked diligently with the state to get our transitional aid and capital city aid back up accumulatively to $47 million, whereas before we were getting about 5. So I want to say that Trenton's life is on the line. Trenton's life is in the hands of this governor, especially when we're seeing funding getting stripped on a federal level from the Trump administration.
Yeah, Council President, if I may, and I apologize for interrupting. I truly do. If we could maybe move along from this topic onto another topic.
We can't talk about voting and things?
No.
Oh, I was unaware of that. I'll move on, but exercise your rights to vote in November. And thank you all for coming again, and have a good night. Oh, wait. I did want to, one comment, because I do got a little bit more time. That threw me off, Director Bridges. I do have one more comment, and it's about the home ownership process, the city-owned purchasing process. We will do our best to perfect this process. I do support what is happening. I just wanted to say that on the record. in my efforts to encourage those who live in Trenton, particularly to purchase property, because you see what's happening. Rent is sky high. The landlords are not taking care of the properties, and the best way to protect yourself is to own a home, because you don't have to worry about somebody raising your rent by $300 to $400 to $500 a year for no good reason at all. The only time your mortgage goes up is if your taxes goes up, and that's not that often. Though Trenton is paying some of the highest rates and taxes per capita in the state, and that's due to largely because a lot of our housing stock is nonprofit owned, and we're not collecting taxes. So it is pertinent upon us to make sure that we're doing our due diligence in proper fashion and legal format to get these properties back on the tax rolls, so that we can increase our revenue, so that we can provide more efficient services and be able to afford the things that we want to see in our community, like streets being repaved and schools being fixed and these houses being taken care of and our parks. So those are the things that our tax money goes to. So keep that in mind when we're considering, purchasing property. That's our bottom line. Let's provide more efficient services for our community. That's what is important, and to protect our residents from price gouging slumlords. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Thank you all for being here this evening. I'm going to be very brief. Most of my colleagues spoke on a lot of things. First, I also want to say thank you to the young people for coming up, for speaking up, for advocating for yourselves, for advocating for what you believe in, and advocating for the program that is something that you all are benefiting from. I personally have seen a lot of the work that goes on there, so it's unfortunate, but as stated before, we are not allowed to talk about certain details until we get all of the information, but hopefully we can have some type of resolution for the program to continue on. But young people, we want to say, keep coming up. If if there's something that you want to see change, this is where you come and you speak your mind. So thank you so much for being here. Just really quickly to some of the things that were discussed today, as stated earlier, I am also in support of the process. I have confidence in that the city is working really diligently to make sure that we get a lot of our blight and abandoned properties back on the tax roll. I just also want to acknowledge Director Liston. I know he has he's done some tremendous work, and we just want to say we appreciate all that he has done. And thank you to Mr. Beach and B.A. Richardson for stepping in and trying to make sure that some of the things do not stay stuck, and we continue to move most of these properties forward. To all of the events, I just want to say thank you to everyone who participated in my annual 609 Day. It was a huge success with all of the partnerships. To the city of Trenton, a beautiful time with the gun violence event that was held. We also had a couple of Pride Fest events that were held, and all were so very well and beautifully attended. So I just want to say thank you for all your hard work on putting that together. To the Trenton Community Street Team, I just want to say thank you to them, because they do a mentoring program at our school, and I think they were in several other schools, but this year in particular, they made sure that they included some of our autistic children, and I just wanted to say thank you to them for doing that. There's the NAACP is hosting an expungement clinic on June 26th from 10 to 3 at Mercer County College. So if you know anyone that would benefit from that, please encourage them to attend. June 26th, 10 to 3 at Mercer County College for an expungement clinic. Trenton Eats Local Club will be meeting up June 26th also at the Camo, I forgot the next name of it. Camo X something, the restaurant Camo. And then we have All Our Night that's coming back also, so please pay attention to that. As mentioned earlier, our city stat program will be tomorrow at 5 p.m. here. So if you have any questions and concerns, you are more than welcome to come and speak to the directors in person at 5 p.m. here in the chambers at City Hall. Thank you all for being present, and have a great night and a good holiday. Maybe have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And I'll take roll call. Council Vice President Edwards,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano, Councilwoman Frisbee, Councilman Harrison,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
and Council President Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion adjourned. Everybody have a good night. Thank you.